right, welcome into That's Bingo Sports Podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts Jacob Beach and Kyle Eggers. I am Joe Hendry. Thanks everybody for joining us today, fellas. How you doing?
Fantastic. Big 3 play tonight for the Phoenix Suns. I'm fired up.
All right, I love that, Kyle.
Bear down, baby. That's all I have to say at this time.
I love that. For all you listeners out there, I just want you guys to know that we don't just have Jacob Beach in the house today. We have middle school football championship coach Jacob Beach in the house tonight. Right, Beach?
That is facts.
What's that hoodie say there, Beach? Show us.
Big
Push athletics, baby. Beachy led some middle schoolers to a championship this year. Or were you the defensive line quality coordinator or something?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Coordinator?
Something like that. I don't know what Beach does, man. He doesn't tell me anything.
I basically just told my very talented defensive linemen to go in there and cause havoc, and that they did. So
yeah, dude.
Yeah, fun game.
Beach is he's on track to send these middle schoolers to the University of Iowa so that they can all play in 7-3 games consistently.
That is my dream.
Gosh, that's horrible.
I hate Beach. We were talking the other day about like Beach's dream, and it's like his dream head coach scenario would be like Dan Campbell. It'd have like Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator, and then an offensive coordinator have like Arthur Smith or something. Just no passes, run the ball every single time. That's just his dream coaching staff right there.
Beach would punt on first down. Good.
There are times where punting on third down is necessary.
No, there's even a need to punt on fourth down, all right? No punting.
Yes, there is.
No,
people like Beach are the reason why we have that Daniel Jones sneak highlight. I'm like, what was it, like second down or something? But
hey, man, punters are people too. For the brand. Shout out Pat McAfee.
The only good thing punters ever did for us was Pat McAfee and his highlight reel, which is electric, by the way.
That is a fact.
But are you guys ready to dive in today?
Let's get this money.
All right. Well, first things first, a little bit of sad news out of San Diego. Padres owner Peter Seidler, he passed away yesterday. So he was an awesome owner, even a better guy, honestly. All the stories that I'm hearing from people like on Twitter, fans and whatnot, things like that, they're just speaking to like the kind of guy that he was. He did some great things not only for baseball but for the city as a whole. And he was honestly it hit hard for me. It stung a lot because he was like the first person in sports really that like gave me hope for something greater for a team that has been terrible for a long time. He loved the city, he loved the team. So Peter, you're going to be missed a lot by the entire city of San Diego, by me, and by fans, honestly, across the MLB. So definitely a bummer to see that happen. But other MLB news: Blake Snell and Garrett Cole, they are announced tonight as the winners of this year's NL and AL Cy Young Awards. I am pretty hyped up on Blake Snell winning it. Feels like a well-timed win for San Diego there in light of the news. And then the MLB MVP awards get announced tomorrow. So, Beach, who's your money on there? I feel like it's pretty obvious.
NL MVP has got to be Acuna.
Mm-hmm.
AL MVP, I don't know. Who do you have for AL MVP? I haven't really thought about this.
I have Ohtani. It just feels
it's got to be Ohtani.
Like he missed a month. It doesn't matter. Seager has a great season. Ohtani's. They got to give it to the Golden Boy.
Yeah, Ohtani's just insane. It's got to be those two. They both had the best seasons out of anyone in baseball.
Yep. I've seen some people trying to push a Mookie Betts for MVP idea, but I'm just
the team
he had a great season. That's
bingo,
what I'm saying.
Bingo.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a regular season award.
He had a great season, but it's for sure Acuna. But moving on to the NBA. Did you guys see that Draymond Green clip last night?
Which one?
That's true. The one where he attacked the entirety of Rudy Gobert, his neck. Just
they need to literally kick him out of the NBA, like for like 3 weeks or something as an extended timeout. Like,
dude, I saw a tweet that it's like a fake NBA account, and it's like a fake announcement from Adam Silver saying that Draymond Green has been sentenced to death. And that was hilarious.
I don't know what goes through that guy's head when he does stuff like that. Because this is like the 10th time that he's done something that you're just like, dude, what are you thinking in that moment? Like, he just sprints full in and is just like, I'm gonna choke out Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's hilarious to watch, but man, that guy is insane.
Yeah,
I
I don't know what to say about it.
If that guy didn't win championships, he'd be looked at as like Big Baby Davis, basically. Like,
Yes,
just
100%.
irrelevant.
Yeah, like I saw Rudy Gobert like kind of cooked him after two. Did you guys see like when Curry's out the game, like Draymond doesn't want to be in the game, and I was like, yeah, like that's kind of facts.
Yeah.
But then I saw this stat that got posted, and the last 7 of his last 11 ejections, Draymond's last 11 ejections, 7 of them took place in games where Steph was not playing, and I was like,
Interesting.
damn, like Rudy was actually spitting. Like, and I
Yeah.
hate Rudy.
Yeah, dude, 100%. That's hilarious. Actually, I wonder if that's coincidence or if Draymond is really that much of just an idiot, which I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, I don't know, but I doubt that he's that big brain to be like, Steph's not in here. I'm gonna get called a fraud. I mean, like the dude averages like 9 points a game on his career. Like he does enough to defraud himself as it is.
Yeah, that's good. Moving on, the Clippers gotten off to a rough start, which I feel like was fairly predictable. Six losses in a row now. Say what you want about narratives or whatever. Harden is a detriment, I think, to that team since he's been there. I know it has only been a short time, but that move already feels like a mistake to me. He'll have his moments. He'll have his 40-game moments, but he is not the James Harden of old, and he just pulls that team down. And Philly's 8-2 as well. Like that, they've started off well. So I mean, what do you guys think about the Clippers start so far?
Beach.
I mean, Tyrese Maxey has been a better player than James Harden like the last 2 years. So
Facts.
for Philly to get off of James Harden and to basically just insert Tyrese Maxey into that role, it's a huge win. Obviously, he scored 50 the other night. And then with James Harden, I think where he's really struggling right now is he doesn't have the same explosion off the ball. He doesn't have that same quick first step that he had back with the Rockets in 2016, 2017. And so he's really just relying on his ball handling and his shooting to get him by. But then when you surround him with guys like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Russell Westbrook, guys who also need the ball, he really struggles off the ball. He doesn't move well off of it. He doesn't use screens well. Doesn't come off of pin downs or any type of flare screens. It's just straight up one-on-one isolation basketball. And at this point in his career, that really doesn't work, especially when you're trying to surround him with guys like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who are going to be the main ones that need the ball to score. So I still think, like you said, Joe, it's the regular season. He's still going to get them some wins. But I think by the time they get to the playoffs, this thing's going to crash and burn. And it'll really be interesting to see what happens to James Harden after this, because who's going to want him if he flames out at another team?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like that was. I think that Mavs announcer. I don't even know his name. Did you guys see that video?
Yeah, they took it down.
I know. Well, he eviscerated that guy. Like he literally destroyed him. Like, and what? Like he said something along the lines of like, when he was just going in, he was like, "You're not the beard. You're not the system. You're the problem."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, they're going to put that on T-shirts when somebody plays the Clippers in the playoffs, and it's going to be amazing because, like, you literally could not have drawn up a better system for Harden to have been in. He had the league MVP, a ton of depth, a very good defensive team that would make up for his lack of playing defense, and he couldn't succeed there, and he forced his way out. It's just like, I don't know if you're a James Harden truther, how you can continue to be like, yeah, he's elite. Like he's destroying teams.
Yeah, 100%. So that's enough of Harden, though. As we've said before, this is a Harden-free zone.
I still want to give him the benefit of the doubt because, like we said, it's early and like nobody is going to be settled 10 games into the season. But at the same time, like it has not looked good, so they really need to figure out something fast. Otherwise, you get off to a slow start for the first 20, 25 games, and it becomes even harder to really get back into that playoff race in the West.
Facts.
Yeah. So, Beach, as you said earlier, the Suns get their big three back tonight. full strength. A little bit of a rough start, obviously, not having all those players early on. But what are you looking for? What are the things you're keeping an eye on tonight as Booker comes back, plays with Beal and KD for the first time this year?
So I saw this stat on X or Twitter the other day, and the Suns' leading leading guy in assists after Devin Booker has been out is Kevin Durant with 4.6 assists. And in the games Devin Booker's played this year, he's averaging over 10 assists a game. And
Wow.
Book is averaging 10?
Yes, he is currently
Gotcha.
averaging over 30 points and 10 assists. So that's the type of thing that, yes, the Suns haven't looked great, but I think people are forgetting just how good Devin Booker is and how he will make this offense work. Just like we were talking about how James Harden doesn't want to do any of the off the ball stuff, I think Devin Booker is capable of doing all the on ball stuff that James Harden is capable of doing while being extremely effective off the ball. And that's why I think he's going to come in. This offense is going to just flourish as soon as he gets the ball. And it's just going to make things work like they haven't worked before because he's going to open up so much space. And then on top of that, he just becomes your best playmaker in the fourth quarter, which is where they've really struggled these last few weeks. And he's really just going to take things to a new height. But I mean, that's what adding a top 10 player in the NBA back to your roster does. He's that good.
Beach, what does Brad Beal's ideal role look like, you think?
I think he's just, you want him to be your third option, and you want him coming off of screens, hitting open shots. There will be nights where he's needed to score a bunch, but I think what I'm excited for Bradley Beal is in Washington, he was always having to face the team's best defender. When John Wall was there, it was maybe sometimes their second best defender, but now he's put into a spot where he's going to be facing a team's third or fourth best defender every single night because they're going to put their best defender probably on Kevin Durant, at least their best wing defender, and they're going to put their best guard defender on Devin Booker. So that's going to really open things up for him. I'm not expecting him to average a ton of points just because I don't think he's going to shoot a bunch, but he's going to get open looks, and I think he's just going to be able to capitalize on that. And it goes back to, I remember Bill Simmons said when the trade went down, he's like, does Bradley Beal really make a difference if you put him in for Landry Shamet in that Denver series? And it's like, Bradley Beal is essentially in the Landry Shamet role from last year. Be open, knock down open shots, and just play competitive on defense. And he is 10 times better than what Landry Shamet is. So if he can do that, that team's going to work.
Good old Shamet, Beach's favorite player.
Shamet? With the bucket.
Beach, how has Vogel's game plan been different? Because remember towards the end of last year, you were a little frustrated with how Monty was using KD, how he was using Book and everything like that. Like he was using KD, off ball shooter kind of thing, like stuff like that. How is Vogel? I mean, they haven't played together yet too much, but how's Vogel been different this year that you've seen?
I think my biggest frustration with Monty was just his lack of in-game adjustments. I think from game to game, especially in the playoffs, he would make adjustments. Like he would tweak the lineups, he would do some different things. But in game, he kind of was what he was, and he would rarely go outside of what he knew. And this, I think, is something that Frank Vogel is just going to be better at. I think he's going to be willing to throw guys in and out in a game. He's going to be willing to change up his defensive lineups. He's going to be willing to try different things. I think we've already seen more Kevin Durant at the 5 minutes this year than we saw all of last season. So just stuff like that, just the little things to make those in-game adjustments, I think he's going to do a much better job than Monty did. And that's why I'm really excited for him.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Love that. Go Suns. Let's play the Timberwolves tonight.
Yep.
Big game.
Best defensive team in the NBA.
Yeah,
it's going to be a good game.
I was going to say, speaking of Minnesota, man, shout out Minnesota. Skull.
Skull.
Can they keep it up, man? They're 8-2. Great start. Anthony Edwards is balling. I heard someone the other day say that, this is high praise, but someone said like he's the closest thing to Michael Jordan since Mike. I don't know if there's any validity to that, but can the Timberwolves keep rolling?
Kobe. Sorry.
Is this just an early season streak?
Honestly, they have looked super good. Like the wins that they've picked up they're not like against like cupcake teams. They beat the Celtics in overtime. They blew out the Nuggets. Like they look good, but I just think it's like they're a younger team. They're going to start the season with a sprint rather than a light jog. And I think that they got better. Absolutely. Do I think that they're legit? Probably not. Like I think that they're probably find themselves the 4-5 seed, which I think that's a victory. but I don't think that they're legit. What do you think, Beach?
I think it really depends on Carl Anthony Towns and how well he plays. Ultimately, he's no longer their best player. I think that's pretty clear cut now that it's Anthony Edwards. But
Yep.
Carl Anthony Towns still has the talent to be a top 20 NBA player. And his fit with Rudy Gobert, everyone's always questioned. So if they can figure it out, the Timberwolves have all the talent to really be a legitimate contender in the West. But it really relies on Carl Anthony Towns being that top 20 NBA player.
Yeah. It is, what's crazy too is it'll be fascinating to see because Minnesota, I mean, they've wanted to ship him out before. Like they have not enjoyed Cat over the past couple of years. I know that, just because of the expectations that he have. But I mean, it's interesting to see too. Like they're giving up just under 103 points a game. Looks like, looks like it's good for like first in the league right now.
Yeah, they're the number one defense.
Yeah, and they're middle of the pack offensively, which I think should improve. So they'll be an interesting team to keep an eye out, man. I think they're a young team, like Kyle said, and it should be fun to kind of see what they turn into and over the course of the season how they.
I really love their role players. I mean, they've got Jaden McDaniels, who's a stud
Dude, he's
defensively.
good.
Yeah.
Kyle Anderson is just, as much as I hate Kyle Anderson, he's Mr. Do
Slow-mo.
It All.
Dude, I've never seen anybody move so slow on a court.
Yeah, he still bothers me from his UCLA days.
Oh God,
but yeah, he
big
does
though.
everything. They've got a lot of good pieces there that is really complementing what Anthony Edwards and Cat and Rudy Gobert are all doing. So they're going to be a fun team to watch, and just like you said, it's going to be interesting to see how they measure up over the course of a full season and not just this first 3-week sprint.
Yeah, 100%. Last thing I got here, there's some rumors that I'm seeing around Zach LaVine getting shipped out of Chicago. I don't know. You guys got any opinions on where you'd want to see him go, and if there's any truth to that?
I have a prediction. Here's my prediction as a angry ex-Lakers fan. I think that the Lakers are going to make some sort of package, probably around D'Angelo Russell or Austin Reeves or both, for Zach LaVine, and then he's going to go to the Lakers, and then everyone's going to say that Zach LaVine is mid and sucks because he's playing with LeBron. That's what I think is going to happen. I hope that I'm wrong because I really like Zach LaVine.
I just
He's
think
cracked in 2K.
He is.
To me, Zach LaVine is just he's a volume shooter that really doesn't do anything else. Like he's a decent 3-point shooter, but he's not a great 3-point shooter. Doesn't really defend all that well. So, like, how much does that really even, like, if he were to go to the Lakers, like, does that really even help them? Because what makes the Lakers really good is their role players, and they're, just like we were saying with Minnesota, like, they have a bunch of guys that do all the little things that LeBron and AD are, either can't do or won't do, whatever it might be. And I don't think Zach LaVine is going to go in there and do anything except try to shoot the ball. So it'd be interesting to see where he goes, but truthfully, how many NBA teams are looking for a guy like that? Because every contender is going to be like, look, I don't need a volume scorer. We usually either have those and they do a lot more things, or we just don't need that to fill a role.
Yeah. I feel like the problem with a lot of guys like LaVine, or even, I mean, you could probably throw Harden in here like this, where it's like you got these young guys that come out and they hoop, they're really good, score a bunch of points, and it's like once it comes time to pay him, you have to pay him. You got to keep that kind of guy there, especially if they're young, and then he's getting paid $45 million. And once they get later in their careers and they get mad because their team isn't good, because they're just not that much of a difference maker, of like who's going to take them. And then a team like the Clippers makes the mistake of taking them on, and it makes their team worse. So I think Beach, like you said, if there's a smart organization, won't take the shot on LaVine, because like you said, what does he actually offer you? What does he actually offer to a contending team except sapping your depth, sapping your role players, and just checking up 20, 25 shots at night, So
right now it has the Heat as the highest odds outside of, the Bulls to keep him, but it has the Heat as the highest odds for him to go there, which, yeah, I kind of agree with your guys' take. I think that he would just kind of make everybody worse. He'd just be taking offense away and not providing much on the defensive end.
And as soon as they're not getting as many shots as they want as a contender, they're mad, So it's like, what do they bring? I don't even know if Jimmy would want him there because he played with him. He got traded for Jimmy, right? With the Chicago, Minnesota. Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't seem to fit the Heat culture is what they talk about.
He would look horrible in those jerseys.
I don't know, man. The white and the red ones are the exact same, pretty much.
Anything else, NBA?
No, skull.
All right. Moving on to the college sports, the world of college
UA,
sports.
baby.
U of A, baby, up to number 17 in the college football playoff. Big game against Utah this week. Beachy, Kyle, it's good to be confident and believe in your team, but give me the realistic. What's the game going to look
National champions.
Yeah, that's what I'm about.
Come on
like?
now.
Do you guys pull this one out?
I don't think so. I want to say yes. My heart really wants to say yes,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that Colorado game was closer than I would have liked it to have been. I think Utah still looked really good last week. Obviously, do I think we can win? Yeah. I think that more likely than not, though, Utah's probably going to pull this one off. Beach, what do you think?
I think it's going to be very similar to how the Oregon State game went, where it's just this team that's a physical style. They've got a decent offense. They've got a good defense. But I think that plays to our strengths. I think we can slow down their offense because without Cam Rising, their offense has been a shell of what it was last year. And offensively, I think we can move the ball against anybody in the country. I don't think it's an issue at this point. We can score on anybody.
I think home field advantage is gigantic for this game, too.
Yeah, it's senior day. It's going to be emotional. We've played them well in the past. I think we have all the makings for an upset. Granted, I don't think it's going to be an upset because we're ranked higher.
I think so.
So
yeah, I think you guys pull this one out, man. I think so too. Like Beach, you said the matchup is good, and I think also there's an aspect of like, Kyle, you said like I don't think we win. I do feel like with teams like this where you haven't been good for a while, there's this feeling of like things are going great, then you play a good team historically, and you're like it's bound to go wrong. But it's like
I'm just in a toxic relationship with them.
which is fair. Yeah. But Fafita has this team rolling, man.
Dude, Fafita's so good.
And it's more than just Fafita. Like it's the Lions being the biggest they've ever been, and probably since Mike Stoops was here. I mean, we have NFL talent on both sides of the line, and I can't remember the last time that was the case. And that's what Utah has always just killed us in, is just they control the line of scrimmage, and we could never do anything to stop it. And so with this game that's coming up on Saturday, I don't think we're going to have a disadvantage on the lines as much as we've had in the past. And then I think our skill position players are going to be an advantage over theirs. And then ultimately it's just going to see who makes less mistakes and who can come up with the bigger plays. And hey, the way Fafita's been playing, I'd put my trust in him.
Yeah.
I hope you're right. I want the Cats to roll, but to Beach, your point, when was the last time we had a first round offensive lineman on the Arizona Wildcats?
The last one I can remember was like Eben Britton, and that was back in like 2008, 2009. So it's been a good like 14, 15 years.
He went in the first?
He was pretty close. You should look it up. I don't know if he was even a first round pick.
The fact that you know that.
Yeah,
because Arizona fans for the last 15 years have been like, dude, we have these tiny offensive linemen that anytime you go up against USC or Utah or any one of these, bigger schools, you're like, we just physically don't match up. And so that's what's been great about this team is that you look at it and it's like, oh, you've got Jonas Avenatti who's on the edge and he's carrying 330 and he looks like a chiseled god. And then you've got Jordan Morgan on the left tackle who's probably like 6'5", and he's over 300, and he's going to be an NFL first round pick.
Yep.
It's just like for the first time in years, you've got like legitimate size out there that are also really good athletes. And like I said, we haven't had that in 15 years.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, Beach, like talking to you and watching games and whatnot, seeing like Gunnar Cruz, who wasn't special, but like there was a couple of games where he was okay. But like there were, when you would go up against those bigger teams, he was running for his life, and he's not the most mobile guy, No. So just like those, it was
There's
bad.
a reason we lost to NAU when we had him. We couldn't pass block, and he couldn't throw.
I know, it was. I mean, imagine not being able to pass block against NAU. Like that's how tiny the linemen were, man.
I mean, that's just how much disarray the program was in after Kevin Sumlin just drank it all away.
Oh my god!
I saw an Instagram post the other day saying that Jet Fish should take the A&M job.
Stop. If he does, I'm gonna.
Hey, I
literally
just
say
saw.
so.
That's what I saw, man, on social media. I
Look,
don't
It wouldn't surprise me.
messenger.
this is where I'm at. 3 years ago, when we hired Jed Fish, I thought it was a horrible hire. I am not afraid to admit that. I was like, "Who
I
is this
remember.
nobody?" If he is good enough to go get a Texas A&M job, that means we're in a great spot. And I would have taken that in a heartbeat 3 years ago
Yeah.
after we got beat by 70 by ASU. So like, this
Oh,
is where I'm
God.
at. Like, if he goes to a bigger job, he deserves it. He's worked his butt off this entire season. I mean, every year he's been here, they've gotten better. So if he takes a job somewhere that's a bigger job, good for him. I hope he doesn't. I hope he wants to stay in Tucson and build up a program here. But man, he's a good coach and he's proved it.
Yeah, it'll be a fun game, man. I mean, McMillan, he's legit.
Yeah.
Like you guys, I mean, Jonah Coleman's been playing well. You guys got some really good skill position players. So it'll be fun. Here's a question though: do you guys think with the next two games, if you beat Utah and you win your last game of the year against ASU, you go to your bowl game, you finish 10-3. Can you guys get inside the top 10 with that? You think?
We need some help, but I mean,
I think it depends on if we somehow snuck into the Pac-12 championship or not.
Mm-hmm.
We still have an outside chance of that, and if we do, and we get to play Washington again,
Mm-hmm.
and we somehow pull off an upset there, then that's like, okay, yeah, you're in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, you have a shot at 11-3. Like that's
Yeah,
add that extra game.
That's the only way I see us getting into the top 10 because Utah's not going to bump us up that much, and
Yeah.
ASU I don't think would bump us up at all.
we have to win by 100.
Yeah, unless teams like in front of us just all happen to lose that weekend, which it's college football, of course that can happen, but
Yeah.
I don't think we get to the top 10. I think we're probably looking in the teens, like 13, 14,
Which we will take.
phenomenal. No, I will gladly take that.
We will take that.
I will love to go to the Alamo Bowl in Texas,
Dude,
wherever that
I
is.
saw some people saying you're going to go to the Holiday Bowl.
Ooh.
I don't want to go there because all I remember is the Dominican Sue terrorizing us and beating us 33 to nothing.
Rams legend, Rams legend.
The Dominican Sue, man. I also saw some Las Vegas Bowl predictions, so I guess we'll see.
If they played in the Las Vegas Bowl, it would be the same day as Arizona playing FAU in Las Vegas.
No way.
Yes.
This would be your Super Bowl.
It would be my Super Bowl.
We will know where Beach will be that day.
The
if that
family will
happens.
not be seeing me for Christmas the entire week.
Oh man, that's good.
Beach.
Go for it.
Beach, I actually looked up what we were talking about, first round linemen. Well,
Yes.
so Britain was a second round pick, early second round, but can you name, just Beach trivia, can you name the last two first round picks just from the University of Arizona?
From the University of Arizona. Good night.
I can give you a hint on the most recent one, but it'll be a
Can
pretty
you give me,
large
like,
hint.
the years?
No, because then you'll get it immediately.
Okay. Gosh, first round picks.
I'll tell you, it was before 2015.
Offense or defense?
Defense.
I was gonna say it definitely wasn't offense.
Can't be offense, right?
Do you guys want the big
I
hint
know-
for the first
I know.
one?
I feel like
Kadeem
Antoine
Carey
Kaysen was a
wasn't.
first round pick.
Bingo!
Oh, dude,
There
Antoine
it
Kaysen,
is.
let's go!
Antoine
Chargers legend.
Kaysen.
Was.
Huge
And then-
Antoine Kaysen fan.
I do not think that you're going to get this next one.
It's not. Gronk was a second round pick, so I know it's
No,
not
he
him.
was second. Yeah, he was second.
Kadeem was a second rounder, right?
No,
He was like
Kadeem
a fourth.
fourth rounder.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Bishop Sankey. That's what I'm thinking about.
Whatever happened to Bishop Sankey? I thought he was going to be good.
Dude, he had a good first year, I think, in the NFL, and then I think
did.
he got hurt.
I hate
I
running
think he
backs.
averaged like almost 5 yards a carry his first season. Let me double check that.
Why do you know? Okay.
Because so actually this is something interesting.
know.
Right around when I was getting into like football deeply, into the NFL draft, like I used to have, but I used to have like stacks of papers with like the NFL draft and stuff like that. I like Kadeem Carey and Bishop Sankey were two players that I planted my flag on as like a 12-year-old or something like that, where I was like, these guys are the truth, and then they weren't. So
Oh my gosh. Do you guys want me to tell you who it was?
Yeah, I don't know if I can name the other one.
Trung candidate, Rams legend.
Oh my God, let's go.
or that one time I texted Beach about Trunk candidate, and then you guys were so mad.
I
We
wasn't
picked
mad.
him-
Kyle was upset.
We picked him in 2000, right after we won the Super Bowl. That was the 31st pick in the draft. Go Rams.
That is hilarious. Okay, Kadeem Carey, yeah, he was bad in the NFL. Bishop Sankey was
Correct.
also not good. He rushed
Correct.
for 569 yards, 2 touchdowns on 152 carries his rookie year. But he caught 18 balls for 133 yards, so it wasn't terrible.
That's
It
not
just
good.
also wasn't good. They went 2-14 that year. That was the year that got them Marcus Mariota.
Well, and where did that get them?
Nowhere. That got them Mike
Correct.
Vrabel, I guess.
That is true.
So
Wow.
Where did that get
yeah,
them? The AFC Championship.
that got them to the AFC Championship in some great years. And all worked to Will Levis, baby. Good old Will.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
All right,
Well,
moving on college football. Guys, who makes the college football playoffs? Right now we got 5 undefeated teams, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington. A few one-loss teams under them. Who are the last 4 standing?
Beans, you want to go first, or you want me to go? I already know mine.
You can go if you're ready.
All right, I'm confident in this. Okay? I'll start from the bottom to the top. Oregon.
Okay.
Ohio State.
Okay.
Georgia. Michigan.
You have both Big Ten teams going?
Yes.
Interesting. So you have Florida State losing at some point soon.
Correct.
Interesting. And then Washington, I imagine, losing to Oregon Pac-12 championship.
I think that Oregon I don't think they beat Oregon twice.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think that's a hot take, obviously, but
Yeah.
I just could see that happening, and it's also wishful thinking because I just don't want Bama in the playoff.
Yeah. Here's how I see it. I think Florida State is the only lock, in my opinion.
Wow.
I the only team that I can see 100% losing out. Like if I think Oregon does beat Washington in the Pac-12 championship. And in that case, like I could see an argument where obviously Washington doesn't go in. I could see an argument for Oregon not making it. Georgia and Bama, one of them will get in. Ohio State, Michigan, one of them will get in. And then Texas beat Bama. If they win out, like what's happening there? So I think Florida State, in my opinion, is the only lock that I have to make the college football playoff.
I think I would agree with that. I think mine would be Georgia, Michigan, and then Florida State, and then I think Washington probably gets in. I think Ohio State probably loses to Michigan, and that knocks them down. And then they end up outside of the top 4 just because somebody has to be outside of the top 4. And so you can't put. I'm just assuming Washington's going to beat Oregon. Obviously, that's a big assumption there. So if that happens, then I think you got to put them in.
That would be pretty cool. Like that would be pretty cool. I think that would be sick.
Oh yeah, that'd be super cool. I've been seeing some like theoreticals running around of like if Texas wins out, they win the Big 12, and then if Bama beats Georgia, like who gets in? Does Texas get in over Bama because they have the head-to-head win, like that 4th spot, and just people putting, people think that the committee would put Bama in over Texas even with the head-to-head loss. So that'll be really interesting. I think so too. It should be really interesting to keep your eye on there. Or they just put a 1-loss Big Ten champion or a loser in there too. So who knows what the committee's going to do? They're a disaster. That's all I know.
Correct.
I just can't wait for the playoff to expand. I think it's next year, right?
Oh, dude, yeah, it should be next year, I think.
Dude,
this year would have been like the perfect
the other day,
year,
and I was just like, yeah, exactly. You just got all these teams, and even if there aren't upsets, like who says no to more playoff college football? Like that's
what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like it's gonna be so easy for teams to recruit, to not the Bamas, not the Clemsons, like the Georgias that we've seen like a million times in the college football playoff. So I'm super stoked to just see some random school make the playoff and just get hyped about it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Louisville right now is 9-1, number 10 in the nation. Like they'd be in right now with a 12-team playoff. You know, like that is awesome. And in that case, U of A would have like a legit chance. Like if they made the Pac-12 championship this year,
now let's just say this. Next year in the Big 12, Arizona might just be one of the favorites to win the Big 12.
Yes.
Are we looking
at
yes. where Arizona's in the college football playoff next year?
Did you imagine?
Okay. This has gone too far.
No, it is not. I am overreacting, and I am ready to overreact.
I have an overreaction for you all. If this was a 12-team playoff, do you guys know who would probably be right on the cusp this year? Toledo.
Arizona. What?
Toledo.
Toledo, first in the MAC. They're 10-1.
I love action.
Only that's what I'm saying. Like, how could you deny Maction in the college football playoff?
Give me Toledo versus Georgia.
That's what I'm saying. And Matt, like, we still talk about that Boise State upset.
Yeah,
like
yes.
once
those
once
UCF teams, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Once
last year Tulane crapped on USC last season.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's gonna be like March Madness equivalent, but with football. Like, this is every sports fan's dream. Like, we do not talk about this enough.
Yeah,
but
I know the arguments people are like they'll only win one game. Realistically, yeah, they probably won't make it past game 2. But who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares, man? Like, I would be electric, and I would, dude, for every game that would end 47-3, where the favorite beats the 12 seed, dude, it would be completely worth it for the one game where they pull it out.
The games already are ending 66-7 or whatever the championship was last year. Like, who cares? The one upset like we get makes up for the 10 games that end like that. I mean,
yeah.
For all the 16 seeds that beat a 1 seed the 1 seeds that beat 16 seeds in March Madness, the 2 times that a 16 seed is won is legendary, and it makes up for all the other bad games that happened. Like, nobody cares about those.
Give me Florida Gulf Coast.
Yes.
You guys see Farley Dickinson got a new locker room? They don't have to watch film in the bathroom anymore.
What?
That is kind of electric.
Farley Dickinson was watching film like in the locker room bathroom with leaky shower faucets, and they just got a locker room because of that win. But they got like a $500,000 locker room or something.
I think Beach, your middle school football team just beat Farley Dickinson, right?
I think we did. Did you guys also, talking about locker room, did you guys see the Arkansas players watching the Polar Express at halftime?
What? I couldn't believe it, dude.
They had a TV in the locker room, and there's just one player that is just fixated on the Polar Express.
Locked in, dude.
I think that guy had a crazy second half, too.
I think they got beat. I think they got killed.
All right.
It was terrible.
Also, gentlemen, I have some breaking news.
Draymond Green suspended. Oh.
Well, yes, but Bradley Beal is not going to play tonight, so the big 3 will not be playing.
Why?
Tonight. His back is still bothering him.
Dude, he's such a coward.
Are we ever going to get the big 3?
Nope, we're just the Brooklyn Nets 2.0.
Oh, my God.
Yusuf Nurkic was right. We're just the Brooklyn Nets 2.0.
And Yusuf Nurkic is your third best player.
I still can't believe he tweeted that, and now he's on the Suns.
Well,
that is funny.
He was really like, that's a Brooklyn situation all over again. And now he's on the Brooklyn situation.
That's hilarious. Well, let's move on to some college basketball. Boys, huge win for the Cats this week against Duke. Awesome game, man. Bumps them to number 3 on the year. Early season wins ultimately don't mean that much in the grand scheme of things, but it's a great building block, Beach. Come on, you got to be realistic with me, man. It's a great building block. It's awesome moving forward, and I'm super hyped for you guys.
I'm going to be serious right now. Assuming nobody goes into like Kansas and beats them, like this is going to be the best non-conference win in college basketball all year. Might be the best win in college basketball all year. Like let's just think about it. Like like how many teams are playing an away game at a place like that and winning those games? Like it does not happen very often. Duke didn't lose a game at home all of last season. And so unless somebody goes in there and beats them again this year, which is possible, or if somebody goes into Kansas and beats them, that's the only way somebody has a better win than us. Like, I know we're saying it's early season, but like that's going to be at the end of the year when the tournaments, the tournament committee's filling out these brackets, they're going to be looking at that win saying that's a big win, even though it was the second game of the season.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, to your point, I was thinking more in the sense of like there are still 20 plus games to go, whatever, in the regular season. Like,
yes, 100%.
Things could change a lot, But that being said, yes, it could easily be the best non-conference win of the year, and does mean a lot in overall. So I get what you're saying there. I think we're just making 2 different points.
No, that's fair.
But dude, your guys' schedule is kind of wild, man. Like, you guys have some hard games. I mean, you got Michigan State, Purdue, Bama, FAU.
Colgate?
Some ranked Pac-12 teams
Belmont?
in there.
Belmont?
Man, dude, this is shaping up to be a fun year
The
for U of A
Pac-12
basketball.
doesn't look too bad. Like we got some heavy hitters. Honestly, I think we
Yeah.
have. Beach, how many tournament teams do you think we got?
I don't think we have that many. I think the Pac-12 is
Really?
weaker this year than it has been in the past. I think USC's better than they've been, but I still don't think they're like anything special. I think they're going to be good, and I think they'll
Yep.
make the tournament, but they're not special. UCLA has taken a significant step back, losing Tiger Campbell, Jaime Jaquez. Those guys.
Goodbye, Jaime.
Goodbye,
Yeah,
Jaime.
I'm very excited about that.
UCLA, I don't think they're going to be that great. And then Oregon's probably the only other one. So I think we could get like 4 teams in there. But outside of that, I'm not confident in anyone else making it just because the Pac-12 is going to Pac-12 and just eat each other alive. I think at the end of the
Colorado's
day,
ranked right now.
Colorado's good.
I think at the end of the day, it's probably going to be those 4, 5 teams if you count Colorado. But I don't trust Tad Boyle. And then I think Arizona is just the clear class of the conference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I do think
Good thing you loaded up on like non-conference good teams. You know,
yeah, because we could roll through the Pac-12. Like we really could. I think Oregon is better than a lot of people have them slated to be at the beginning of this year. But like, yeah, I still think that we could have 4 tournament teams, but we'll see.
I think just going back to the non-conference schedule point, Joe, I think that's what's been so refreshing. And a lot of people talked about this in the national media, but just how cool it was to see 2 big-time college programs play an early season game like that and not just be at a neutral site. And like, I know you're mentioning all those big games, but I think pretty much all of those are on a neutral site. And so it's so cool because these are the type of games that not only do fans want to see, but players want to play in them, right? Coaches want to coach in them. You know, Arizona players want to go play at Cameron Indoor, and vice versa. Duke players want to come and play at McHale. And I think the more games we can get like that for college basketball, the more coaches that we can say, hey, even if you lose, this is a good thing. This prepares your team. The better off college basketball will be. I mean, I had more fun watching that Duke game than I had, watching any of our non-conference games really at all last year because, I mean, it just means a lot to go into a place like that and win, or even to just go in and play well. And so that's what I think is so cool.
Can we talk about that game a little bit too? Like, I think that, like, just about the actual game, there was so many plays where like our new additions just came in and like got us that win. Like specifically the San Diego State transfer.
Legend. Legend. I'm sorry.
San Diego State legend. Dude, he not only did he have that clutch and one, he played defense pretty much the whole last 2 minutes on the primary ball handler and was locking up. And then on top of that, he went down and he was hitting free throws. Like he was good on both ends of the ball. And then we had Caleb Love. While he didn't have the most efficient game, like he still made some plays that won us that game. And it was pretty cool to see because I felt like we kind of built a super team. I'm super biased over the last few months, and they pulled it out for us. Like literally the new guys pulled it out for us.
Yeah, I agree. Like I'm looking up Keyshawn Johnson's stats right now because I wanted to make sure I wasn't just dreaming this, but he is currently averaging 15 points a game.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
he's balling, dude.
That is double what he averaged at San Diego State the last 2 years. So, like, it's just cool to see him come into a system that allows him to really thrive in an offensive setting. And not that he wasn't good at San Diego State, but San Diego State just doesn't run an offensive system like this. And so he can get up and down the floor, he can make plays in transition, and he's just going to get 10 points a game just off of breakaway dunks or just making hustle plays at the rim. And I mean, he had a big and one at the end of that Duke game where
huge.
If that doesn't go in, we lose that game. I mean, that was under a minute left. If he misses that, doesn't get the foul, whatever it is, like that, we lose that game. It was cool to see him make that play.
Yeah, it was a great game to watch. I loved it. So, anything else college sports wise?
Nah.
Cool. We'll move on to the NFL here then. little bit of news: Deshaun Watson broke a bone in his shoulder, out for the year. Feels about right, to be honest.
Woo!
That's enough of that.
I love
the
karma.
Bills have also fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. I want to talk about that a little bit because there is discourse all over the place right now on Josh Allen. He's catching a lot of heat. The Bills as a whole. Kyle, we were talking about this a little bit the other night. I want to know what are your guys' thoughts on Allen? Is he the problem? Is Dorsey the problem? What are your guys' thoughts?
I don't think that they're. I don't think that both things can't be true. Like, I think that it was probably a bit of both. Like, if you've been watching the Bills the last 3-4 weeks, like Josh Allen is missing wide open throws. Like, that's the reality of it. But also, he's been put in some pretty terrible situations by his OC. I just don't think I think that there was Joe. You and I talked about this, but I think that there was a legitimate crowd of people that were saying Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes. Like, that was real before the season started. And I just think that if anything, no, he's not. Like, that's what we've learned is he is not better than Patrick Mahomes. Is he a top 3 quarterback in the league? I still think so. But is he better than Pat Mahomes? Is he the best quarterback in the league? I don't think it's close. That's what I think. I do think that the Josh Allen hype kind of got out of hand. But I've been saying my comp for him has always been Brett Favre with legs, which is elite. But I just don't think that he's better than Mahomes. He's just a very mobile, athletic gunslinger. That's what he is.
Yeah, Beach.
I agree. I think, just like Kyle said, it's a little bit of both. But at the same time, the Bills just make stupid plays.
Terrible. Yeah.
You had 12 men on the field goal. Their defense, really had some struggles in that game as well. They've had some struggles all year. So, while Josh Allen turning the ball over is definitely not ideal, and their offensive coordinator, and there's been some issues there. There's just been some team issues as well that goes beyond that. So I don't want to just sit here and blame Josh Allen for everything that goes wrong, right? I think, Joe, you always get fired up about how wins and losses shouldn't be a quarterback stat. And I would agree with that. Josh Allen gets a lot of blame for these losses, but at the same time, look, if they have 11 guys on the field, they win that game. Ken Dorsey's probably not fired. It's just one of those things that so much blame goes to the quarterback and the coaching staff because they're the ones that are predominantly in charge of everything. But as you guys all know, football is a team game. It's the ultimate team game. If one guy doesn't do their job, a play can fail. And that's what we're seeing with the Bills. They're just missing assignments and missing key plays, at times that they need to make them.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw this stat. Mina Kimes tweeted out the Bills this year so far. They've been first in success rate, third in EPA per play, fourth in QBR, third in yards per play, second in third down conversion percentage, and third in red zone efficiency. That's how good their offense has been this season, right?
Yep.
Now the issue is when they make plays, it's bad plays, is disastrous bad plays. It's the worst possible timing. It's like 2 or 3 game plays that literally change the outcome of a game, right? And then I saw this tweet also that Ben Solak tweeted out of the Dorsey firing. It was the survivor bias picture of the planes, right? Which I think sums it up really well. It's just there are so many deep issues with this team. And I get Allen's, he's got 9 picks this year, something like that. I think he's on pace for 17, but I also looked it up. He's on pace for over 45 touchdowns, almost 5,500 yards total again. Dude, what are we doing here? We're criticizing this dude who, I get it, he can probably be a little bit more careful, but it's not like it's been bad for the Bills. They've been awesome for several years, and obviously they just had the unfortunate situation of running into Mahomes. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens. I'm not worried about it. I think Allen is still entrenched as QB2 in the league after, pretty decent gap between him and Mahomes, as Kyle said. But Stafford, the Rams won a Super Bowl. Stafford threw 17 picks. I am of the opinion that interceptions don't matter that much, and I ultimately think that Allen's are not mostly on him. Actually, I think there's been a lot of them that they've been really unlucky with. So that's my thinking on it.
I think too, Mahomes is just absolutely shot out of the water what people view a quarterback to be.
Oh, dude, yes, I've been saying this for
And like
years.
that's the real issue of the problem. Like people are now comparing these young quarterbacks or really any quarterback at all to, oh, look what number 15 in Kansas City is doing. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, nobody can do that. Like when it's all said and
Yeah,
done, Patrick Mahomes legitimately might be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback to play the position. Like when he's
I
done
think
with his
he
career. Like I think that's, and I don't even think
yeah,
that's a hot take. Like
no,
that's just
it's not.
reality.
he
And
already is
so
one of the greatest. Like I think he has a legitimate
exactly, and
of
he's
being
like,
the greatest.
Mahomes is the most talented player we've ever seen at the
I
position,
remember
and if he
arguing with
keeps
Joe
this
like
up,
2 years ago that he was already a Hall of Famer, and Joe was like,
mm-hmm.
no, he's not. He's got a
I was
body
a
of work
hater,
better.
and I
You
And
admit
I
I
was
was
were a
like,
wrong.
dude,
hater.
Mahomes is already in the Hall of Fame. Like I don't care what else he does, you can put him in now. And so like that's where I'm at is just like people are comparing these quarterbacks to basically perfection when you look at how
Yeah.
he plays the game, and that is just an unfair comparison.
Yep. 100%. And it's, I mean, I've been saying this for years. It's like Mahomes. I mean, this happens all over the time in sports. Like the Patriots ruined winning for NFL fans. Like if you
Yeah,
were not winning at the Patriots rate, like a 3-year window where you win 10, 12, and 11 games, any team, any franchise is like, that is great. And the Patriots did it for so long. That's the standard. Mahomes did it. He's being so great for this amount of time. People are like, that's what we need. And if you're not that every single time, you're a failure, which sucks. Like for every other quarterback.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how good he is, and I think Josh Allen's just catching the backlash of it. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
he's getting
totally.
compared to an all-time great, um, and so we'll see if he can respond and kind of bounce back.
Yeah, and like he's great in his own right. People need to realize that. Again, Allen is he is going to be the reason you win the game 9 times out of 10. I think. So, all right, moving on. Aaron Rodgers says he's going to be back mid-December. I don't at this point. I don't even know if he tore his Achilles. I don't know if he's a real person. I don't know if he's an alien. Like I don't know what to think about Rodgers. I don't really want your opinions on that. I just wanted to say I don't know what to think about Rodgers and his injury anymore. So
Uh,
there's that.
I think that I honestly a small part of me, like a small part of me feels like he's going to come back and get hurt, and then the rest of me feels like he's going to come back and just for some reason be better than he ever was and throw for like 3,000 yards or something for the rest of the year and just like win the Super Bowl. But yeah, I don't know. That dude's on one. Like
Yeah,
he's an alien.
yeah. All right, that's enough of Aaron Rodgers. Let's move on to something kind of fun here. Something we'll all enjoy. A little bit of a beach bingo.
Oh no. Oh no.
Taylor is back, baby.
Oh
He
no.
Taylor's back.
he immediately proved why he's a top quarterback in the NFL. Awesome to see him back on the
Yep.
field this past Sunday. Beach, talk to us about that Cardinals game.
I mean, it was so cool just to one, not only see him back out there and playing, but two, just to see the talent that he still has. And not that I had to be reminded about it, but just for him to go out there and remind everyone that, hey, I'm still that dude. I'm still going to be the Arizona Cardinals franchise quarterback, regardless of where their pick is in the draft. And so that play, like we were talking about it, when he scrambled out and made that 70-yard run to gain 10 yards, like there might be two quarterbacks in the NFL that can do that, and it's him and maybe Lamar.
Josh
And
Dobbs.
Just one, just Kyler.
and so like that's what's really cool is you again just saw a guy that has insane talent at the position that in his first game back willed his team to a win. I mean, it felt great just seeing number one back out there.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was
he's
a
awesome.
hater. I was a hater. I can't I you guys know I was a hater. Not to say that one game, obviously like he's proved everything, but there was like legitimate I think even a big percentage of the Cardinals fan base that just wanted to tank and get Caleb Williams and like
Yeah,
move on from Kyler. So I think it was like yeah, he had his back against the wall, he performed and yeah, he's good. Like he is a good quarterback. So we'll see
yeah,
how he does for the rest of the year, but it was honestly much better of a debut than I expected.
yeah. No, it'll be a lot of fun, man. It'll be good to see. Like I think you guys will probably win what 5 more games maybe. Beach looking at you guys' schedule.
Yeah, I still
So
think
it's
we
good
can
to have
get
him
to
back on there.
4 or 5 wins, and that would be huge.
Yeah, no. So I
Just
think
for confidence in the direction of where this team's headed. I mean,
yeah,
obviously, you want that high draft pick, but I feel confident in Monty Austin for it to get a good pick, regardless of if we're picking at 1 or if we're picking at 31. Like, I think
yeah.
he's a good GM, so I'm
When was the
confident in
last
him,
time
and
you
I'm just
said that
excited to
as a
see where he can
Cardinals
go.
fan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. But yeah, dude, I love watching Kyler. It's just he missed a couple throws, but like they were like that is that far off. You know, he'll get that just shaking off some in-game rust and everything like that. And obviously with his legs coming back from an ACL tear, 11 months, and doing that with your legs it's awesome to see. And yeah, I think an entrenched, like I said before, an entrenched quarterback like Kyler is far more valuable at all than the number 1 pick. So, last thing, or one of the last things we got here, Herbert, same story with him. I mean, he played awesome for the first time in a while. He'd had a couple rough games there, but he balled out, dude, in that game against the Lions. And of course, they gave up 41 points. But I have an interesting stat here. The Chargers right now, they have the most points in the AFC West, more than the Chiefs. They are bottom 5 in penalties against them, so they don't commit penalties. They are bottom 5 in turnovers. We don't turn the ball over at all. And they have a losing record right now. It's the same vibes as the number 1 offense, number 1 defense, missed the playoffs kind of year. And the one saving grace is like the rest of the AFC right now is a jumbled mess of like 5-5 teams. So it's like maybe we can go on a run. Our schedule isn't that bad, but dude, it's just so sad to see Herb throw for 300 plus, 4 touchdowns, and lose the game. It just sucks. I hate it.
Yeah. I feel bad for the guy. Like I really do. He's getting hated on like none other right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
we'll
it's
see.
Interesting. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of Chargers fans. I don't know. I'm a little biased, but like he almost seems to be like a standard across the NFL. Like a lot of quarterbacks are consistently compared to him. Like obviously we talked about Mahomes earlier and how he set the standard. But when quarterbacks are compared, it's like, well, he's better than Herbert. And it's like, wait a minute. Everybody's better than Herbert now, you know. So, I feel bad for the guy too. I just want to see him win, like, and not have to be, you know, Superman every single game.
Yeah, maybe he gets traded. You know,
dude. I mean, imagine what the Steelers would be doing with Justin Herbert right now.
Oh my gosh,
Can you imagine that?
They'd be like the Rams.
I hate you. Last thing we got here. I promise last thing. Weekly Super Bowl contenders hasn't changed from last week. Kansas City, number 1, gap. Baltimore, Philly, San Francisco, Detroit, Jacksonville. I don't overreact to one game. I know Jacksonville just got smacked. I know Baltimore lost a game to Cleveland. I don't care. They have all the pieces that they need to win. They have proved to be good teams. The Lions got smacked by Baltimore. They came back and won a game. San Francisco, losing streak, just killed Jacksonville. Why should we react? These teams are going to be the ones. These teams, 2 of them will be standing at the end.
I think the Bengals could low-key make another AFC championship run. Like
maybe.
I might overreact a little bit to that Jags game, but they looked awful. And
they did.
But we'll see.
Kyle is already walking back his take.
No, dude. I still think that they're probably the 3rd best team in the AFC, but like the Niners, I think it's in terms of tiers of just like teams in the NFL, I think it's the Chiefs. And then I think that Philly and the Niners are in the same tier, kind of by themselves. And then it's all those other teams in the AFC.
And then there's 50 feet of crap.
And then there's the Rams. Yeah.
That's fun. Well, it'll be good, dude. I'm excited. The playoffs aren't too far from us, man. We got just a couple more months and we're there. So, and that'll go by pretty quick. So,
and none of us will be represented.
None of us will be represented. No. That is the saddest thing.
That is very sad.
Well, gentlemen,
the draft.
We have the draft. We have the draft coming up, and we're all in the middle, and we're all gonna get.
We're going to Detroit.
Let's go. I have been trying to get these guys to go to the draft with me in Detroit for months now, and they will not say yes. The draft is free to go to. Like, why wouldn't you?
You couldn't pay me to
It's
go to
in
the draft in
Detroit?
Detroit. Yeah.
Come on, man. It's the draft.
Why didn't we
Where's
go when it
James-
was in like Vegas?
Because I
Why
didn't know the
Detroit?
draft was free to go to then.
Come
And I
on,
didn't
man.
have money to
There's-
spend at that point.
Oh my
You guys
I
are
would just
crazy.
be I would be so mad if I went to the draft and watched us draft Stetson Bennett. And then I
Like, I think it'd be worth the price of admission. Not even there's no price, but it'd be worth it to go to see your reaction of them drafting Stetson Bennett, man.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, like when the Cardinals took Benjamin in the 7th round, and I would just be sitting there like,
That would be
just livid.
incredible. Come on, man. That's. I just don't see a downside to this.
I see several.
It's in Detroit.
That's not
That's your
that bad, I
downside.
promise. You guys are the worst. All
Yeah,
right,
not that guy.
That's from you guys.
I love you.
I love you too, random citizen. Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you all for listening. You can find us on Instagram, on X, on YouTube, and TikTok at That's Bingo Pod for some more. We will see you guys next time. Deuces.
Peace.
Peace.